I know what you're thinking. Boat electrical and batteries, generally a messy subject, but it doesn't have to be. In fact, it can be pretty easy. This boat here, I know it looks small, but it's got one of the most advanced electrical layouts that you'll see in probably boats 2, 3, or 4 times the size of it. Wiring it all together was one thing, but managing it is another big thing. And I'm able to manage this entire boat off of just 3 batteries. One for the 36 volt trolling motor, another for these UHD fish finders at 16 volts, and then a 12 volt house battery that will literally run anything else, including your motor if you have a big enough one. But is your motor big enough for a lithium starter battery? How many batteries do you actually need to run a boat? Is it 3, 4, 6? What wire do you use? What about a circuit breaker? What about the battery covers? What about all of it? Check it out now, because after this video, you should have absolutely no questions about battery installation ever again. First off, I want to give a big shout out to ProGuide Battery Systems and Chargers for helping me straighten out my boats. More on that later, but if you want to check them out after this video or even during it, check out our website tbnation.net and search ProGuide Lithium. Alright, let me start out by saying this. There could be so many configurations for batteries. I'm trying to run the least amount of batteries, the lightest I can get them, with the cleanest setup. So this is the norm for what I guess an optimal setup would look like. If you want like more conservative, cheaper setups, we have videos for that too. But forewarning, this video is mainly just looking at an advanced setup where these 3 batteries would do what 6 batteries used to do in the average bass boat. Lightweight, charges multiple voltages, there's Bluetooth, the list goes on.
On the outside it seems sleek and smooth, but behind it, it's got ribbed aluminum. This for heat dissipation, plus the fan to help dissipate heat even more. It's gonna blow, since it's sitting against the wall, the fan's gonna blow straight through these guides, like so, and it's gonna help this thing cool while it's charging in there. It's pretty genius. And then we have the multiple banks for the multiple chemistries. This back wall, I will probably be putting that charger right there on the back wall. And then the batteries will be lining like so. There's also battery trays. Now these are from a different battery company, so they're gonna be oddly colored, but they still are gonna fit these like perfectly. Like that. And then this will screw right to the bottom and this will strap over, and that battery will never move ever. You also want things like your circuit breaker kind of close. You want a 60 amp if you're running a 36 volt. I have all my cables. These are all 6 gauge wire, 6 gauge marine grade wire from Anchor Marine. You need battery terminal caps, plugs. Sometimes you'll get batteries that have them and sometimes you will not. Like with these, they did not come with them. So the first bank is a 12 amp bank, and that can do lithium, AGM, or lead acid. And you just choose the mode, which one you want. Bank 2, obviously, if it's 16 volt, it's gonna be lithium if you're gonna choose that. So it has 160 volt choice, but it has 12 volt for the other one, lithium or AGM. And then bank 3 can only be lithium, so there's no mode. Okay, so the power cord, I generally have into an external, this battery port, the Noco battery port. Sometimes you get a 2-in-1. I like the 2-in-1, mainly because I'm gonna have to run an additional small charger. And the reason I'm gonna have to do this is because I have 4 batteries. The reason this is a 60 horse. This is a lithium starter, deep cycle starting battery. So you could use this one to both start your motor and run your house stuff, but only if you got like a 75 horse or above, where the stator is actually powerful enough to handle lithium. In this specific case, for that one, really a lead acid starting battery is still the best option. Now, 75 horse and over is the general rule, but there are changes and new generations of motors are coming out. A lot of them are able to take lithium at any horsepower level. You just got to check specifically with your manufacturer and company, the way I did with Mercury. That was just last year. So we're gonna have to run 4 batteries. So I'm gonna have to run an additional charger, but at least for my house stuff, my trolling motor, and all my amounts of graphs here, that'll all be covered. And then the other one, I'm just gonna sneak it somewhere else. So these are battery trays. You can get these in most places. I believe that we do sell these. Most battery companies that sell batteries now sell these. It's kind of a thing. Little rubber base, but you gotta install this first. Installing it right there. In order to get 36 volts, you'd have to wire 3 batteries in series, all that extra space. If I had to do that right now, this whole bay would be flooded up with just batteries for the trolling motor, and it would be heavy. Granted, you can get a lot more, like if you got like 300 amp hour 12 volts, say, and wire them in series, you would have a legit 100 amp hours worth of battery life, but you'd have all that space wasted. 36 volt, M50. This is a 50 amp hour 36 volt battery. The whole thing is these are really hard to kill, especially on a tiny boat like this. This will last me all weekend, or it will last me a very long day on very aggressive wind and current. Now, if you have a bigger boat, now that's one thing. Like a pontoon, you might want to look at 100 amp hour somewhere, but I had 100 amp hour in this boat. It was complete overkill. I would use it for like the whole weekend and it barely went down any footage because the 36 volts are because they're so powerful, they don't use near as much power as say a 24 and especially a 12 volt, which is constantly using its max thrust all the time because it needs that just to move. Now, some will come with caps like these and others will come with studs like these, where we actually will tighten these down with an Allen key and then you'll snug them tight with this once you're ready to attach things. I don't know exactly how much that weighs, but it doesn't weigh much. I had to make a little tray in here just out of angle aluminum from the hardware store. They sell them in little sticks like these all day. You can just cut and bend, just little tin snips. And you can make your own trays if you don't want to spend all kinds of money for these types of trays. But you will have to secure them down no matter what. The nice thing about these trays is they have a little slip through here. So you can go ahead and guide a strap like this in there. And so this battery is never going to move ever. And you never have to worry about them inadvertently starting a fire or damaging themselves inside the compartment during, while you're on plane. But for this, since we're going to need some D-rings, I would recommend stainless steel ones. And these ones are just fine, but they're pretty cheap at Harbor Freight. I think I might have. It theoretically should keep it even tighter. They can keep it tighter than these and able to fit around the battery better than the ratchet. I prefer these, but it doesn't mean that these are the best. I like so much about this 16 volt battery here. It's the same size as like a 50 or 60 amp hour 12 volt. A lot of the 16 volt batteries are bigger and more awkward looking and they don't really fit tight, but this one fits. It's just like it weighs nothing in there. So I have these leads. This is my electrical compartment, and then I'm running all the wires through it here. So I got them labeled 12 volts, 1 major power and 2 grounds. We were able to link them all to one cutoff switch. We have 2 individual grounds. So this one is 12, and there's another one that's 12. So these are all the 12, and then these are my 16 volt leads waiting at the end. For the 12 volts, how they did this battery is a little different. You're going to get these studs. A lot of times you'll just get these lugs. Sometimes they feel too short, too long. And Pro Guy cut onto that, so they made a lug that is just, you install the screw and you have so much more room to put terminals and stack terminals on this. Since the 12 volt is going to be the most used battery for the most abundant. Pretty nice little thing here. There's a 4 millimeter that will tighten it. Yep, it's a 4. So give it a nice little tighten there. And there you go, then it's in. Before you get too far into this, always remember, sleeve these. These almost always prevent a fire indefinitely. If you stuff all the wires through there, you got the charger plus the regular terminal.
When you're using a ratchet, always make sure there's an extension higher than the terminals, because a lot of people accidentally tap the ratchet to the other side of the terminal and it arcs the ratchet and it melts and then your battery blows up.
Okay, so now that these are tight, you can now move the terminal caps over here and there. Covered here on the posts. And these posts are really because this is a starter battery, so they have these posts. And now you got these covered. So these covered, this battery, and this is strapped down. This battery is very safe. Super unlikely that it will ever cause and spark and touch the aluminum or touch anything else and cause a problem. No. All right, so it's complete here. This is working. We got all the battery terminal caps covered. That one over there, I was missing one. I don't know, so I just used that little small one, but they're still all covered. The battery charger's in there. You plugged it up to the terminal cap. So when you plug this one in, you kind of want a 120 because 36 volts is a lot for a 110 outlet. Now, if you have all you have is a 110, then all you have is a 110. So we're gonna go ahead and plug a 120 in though, since we have one. It's in. So now you see the modes. You gotta quickly select the mode. Before I could choose the middle one from 12 to 16 volt, I had to have the battery unplugged. I just had to have this one unplugged before I could select the mode. If you have this plugged, by the time you go to select the mode, it won't work. The 12 volt, it let me select it while plugged up to the battery, and then the
the 36 volt, obviously. They don't make 36 volt and anything else other than lithium. Do is just let this charge. House battery is already done charging. I wait for the other two, and then that's all I got to worry about. The only thing it isn't going to charge is my starter battery. But again, most people who are running 75 horsepower and above, which are kind of putting these type of batteries in, this one will do your house battery and your starter battery. And so you can run an entire boat off of just 3 batteries. It's pretty nice. And this is what it looks like when it's fully charged. And it charges very fast. 10 amps is quite fast. And as for that pesky starter battery, well, the alternator kind of charges it mostly anyways in the motor. So I just got this little trickle charger from Noco for like 40 bucks. And I'm just going to place it creepily in there. There is the issue of running extension cables. So in the event that you have to run extension cables, run like for like. In this case, I'm going to be running 14 gauge duplex to run this one. So I'm going to cut the wire right before the fuse blocks and then just splice it right in there. Running this one for your entire house plus starter. So this pretty much runs your entire boat on a 12 volt system. This runs all your high-end electronics. More volts, less amps, runs cooler, and it's supposed to be more accurate. That's the trending thing about the 16 volt. Although a 12 volt lithium, in my opinion, works just fine for most of the high-end UHD graphs anyways. Just whatever you want. It's a preference thing. Obviously the 36 volt 50 amp hour, I'm the most excited about that. I significantly decreased the weight in my boat. Like a whole lot of weight is now freed up. A whole lot of space is now freed up. If I want to do something, I could stick a few things in here. I even have room to put extra stuff. So it's just kind of nice. The batteries are all nice and organized and immediately accessible, and I can troubleshoot anything. Remember, when you're charging, leave the door open. Do not plug that in and then leave this closed, unless it's of course extremely cold outside and you can get away with it. But other than that, I would just leave this door open, give a nice open room to ventilate. Now, at the Ibex show in Florida, we met quite a few battery manufacturers. ProGuy was there, but they were competing against 16 other vendors out there and really didn't get a whole lot of chance to talk to them, but they seemed like they had a pretty nice battery spread. They also made everything: lead acid, AGM, lithium. Seems like they had all the bases covered with manufacturing all 3 different types of batteries, which is good because, I mean, all the situations arise. They had special attention, obviously, to lithium, which is the bulk majority of their batteries. With a barrage of 12 volts, plus their own 36, 24, and then a 16 volt battery, it wasn't until I actually saw them in play and how they performed when I went to go visit Nate. We were here in Louisiana at Busey Break. I fished with him on his boat for the entire stay there, and it was a flawless performance and a very nice, sleek setup. And when customers come in to get a boat built or modified, just like this one, this is the battery choice that he personally recommends to all his customers. I'm like, well, why? So there are so many out there. A lot of them want to work with us, but this one is the only battery company that allows Nate to be the first line of defense in the warranty and eliminate the middleman, thus ensuring the best quality of customer experience that we can provide. Catch is, you got to stop by one of our shops to actually have one of our main techs like Nate look at it and verify that it's busted, but it's still a level up in warranty that we have never seen from any other company. By the way, Nate's Midwest location is new and huge and very impressive. If you are ever in Illinois, stop by and see us. We'll be glad to see you. We can give you a tour of the facility. It's a boat cranking machine. You got to see it for yourself. Pretty much anything you wish you had on your boat, we can do. And it's not just boats, it's boat parts, it's products. If you've ever bought an aluminum boat product from our website, it came from this store. Completely 100% built and manufactured in the US. The same products we choose to build our own boats with are the same products we sell to you. We also have a location in Oxford, Georgia. So if you're in the Southeast, come and see us as well. And remember, guys and gals, boat season is fast approaching. So right now is the time you want to build your boat before the season starts. Don't spend all season build your boat. A lot of you guys do that. It's bad. You just miss the whole season. Stay tuned, guys. More coming up. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope this helped you on battery installation.